right. Well, for to be cognizant of time, we're going to go ahead and get things started. So, welcome everyone. My name is Jordan, and I'm a staff member in New Student and Family Services. And we are really excited today to have Carla Hines here from Housing and Residence Life to talk about preparing for move-in. Just a couple of housekeeping things as we get started. Your video and audio is muted. So since this is a webinar, we can't see you, so don't worry about that or hear you. If you do have questions, the chat function is disabled for the presentation, but you are welcome to throw those in the Q&A function. We will, which you can find at the bottom of your screen, and we will go over those questions at the end of the presentation with our presenter. Also, we are recording the session, so you'll be able to view this through our YouTube channel starting next week if you did want to follow up with information from there. So. All that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Carla. So please welcome our presenter.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carla Hines. I am going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So right now, you should be seeing my screen. Jordan, are we a go for that?
I can't see it right now, but yeah, you should. Oh, there it goes.
Okay, there you go. All right, just making sure that the technology is working with me. So first of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I am the Associate Director for Administration here in Housing and Residence Life. I've been working here at the helm for about 16 years, so I've seen a lot of move-ins occur in my time. This year, move-in's going to be a little different, but it will still be an event to behold. So I'm going to let you in on some of the mechanics behind move-in, and then at the end, I'm going to take any questions that you may have, because we want to make sure that you are ready for what will be the beginning of your home away from home experience. So we're going to welcome you to campus. I want to make sure that you're aware that first and foremost, move-in is August 31st through September 6th. What I always like to open with, because we're doing it differently in the age of COVID-19, we want to make sure that you know that we are definitely committed to making sure we do this in an efficient manner that allows us to really adhere to social distancing protocols and the recommended community health standards. We do not take this lightly for both the residents, the family members coming in, assisting the residents, as well as our staff members. Here, right out of the gate, these are some of the measures you may have seen on our website. We do, if you go to Niner Nation Cares, you will get information about what we're doing to make sure we provide a good, strong, and efficient and safe move-in for all of our residents and their family members. First, face coverings are required. We have installed hand washing stations in our halls at our entrances. We have enhanced cleaning and sanitation of high-touch areas. And then one of the things that you're going to get today for any of the students who are living on campus, today you will get an email about signing up for your move-in appointment. That will start Monday. And so we're going to send an email out which gives you very specific instructions on how we're limiting move-in appointments by time slot per building to avoid large crowds. Again, in keeping with all of the things we're doing to be safe, we also have installed social distancing signage to encourage healthy practices. This is going to be an effort as we return to campus, or for those of you who are coming for the first time, it's going to be beyond the norm. These are all pictures of the previous and current norm that we want to make a point of making sure check-in and move-in this year will take a village. It will take participation with our incoming students, their family members, understanding the protocols and making sure that we abide by those. So part of my presentation will be to make sure you understand about the move-in appointments. So the move-in appointments, students will have to create those move-in appointments, sign up for them rather, online beginning Monday. Each of the appointments will be in 2-hour blocks. If you look at the screen now, you will see those blocks will be 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., or 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Those are done specifically to make sure that we minimize the number of people in the hall gathering for move-in. So what's going to happen when you get your email today about the move-in appointment sign-in, it will outline when you will be able to begin signing up for those appointments and how you should do it. And again, the reason we're doing this is to make sure we have an efficient key and ID pickup, as well as the unloading of belongings. That's what that 2-hour block is for. It is not necessarily for you to get your room set up exactly how you want it, because for those of you who are budding HGTV designers, it may take a bit longer. But we want to minimize the number of people who are in the lobby waiting to be checked in. So that's why the 2-hour block is specifically for you to get your key, your ID, and then for you to unload your belongings. Please remember that a maximum of 2 guests are allowed to assist with unloading and moving in. All parties should have appropriate face coverings that will cover both the nose and the mouth. So you may ask, what's next? I know I'm coming. There are going to be many experiences that you will encounter as being part of our on-campus community. Before you pack, one of the most important things I tell new incoming students is review the packing list that we've got on our website. Also review the prohibited list as far as the things you can't bring. There are certain things that you can have in apartments, if you're assigned some of an apartment community, that you cannot have in a traditional room or a suite room. So make sure you understand exactly what you should be packing and the prohibited list. The other important thing that's really critical, we have put online our moving guide, which tells you tips for things to bring, tips for things that you may not realize because you're sharing a space with someone else. We talk a little bit about some of the agreements that you'll need to make as roommates, as far as boundaries, as far as cleaning within a particular suite or apartment, those types of things, guests, how those will be handled. Those are some of the things we review in the moving guide. And then we think it's important for all students who are going to be living on campus to take a look. So we're all operating from the same sheet of music. Also, if you're thinking about bringing a micro fridge, be it a microwave, a refrigerator and freezer, a combo, or if you're interested in renting one, we do partner with a off-campus party that will actually allow you to order online the micro fridges, which really is a refrigerator. It has a little place on the top for a freezer and a microwave. It's very convenient because it's all connected. It's one unit. The other piece is if you do rent it, they deliver them before you arrive on campus. If it breaks while you're on campus, they'll come out and service it or replace it. So we do have that information on our website. We also have the information in the moving guide should you elect to bring your own, as far as what the specifications are, to make sure that you don't bring a full-size refrigerator to put in a traditional room because it simply won't fit. So look at that move-in guide. It'll give you directions on that as well. The other thing we have is a partnership with a linen company, so that if you wanted to get specific linen for the room, if you wanted to get some of their combo packs, we have all of that information on our website as well. Of course, you're more than welcome to go to Target, go to Walmart, wherever you go, bring from home and bring whatever bedding you need that'll make it feel like your own space. The other thing that we ask students to consider, particularly if they're concerned about their valuables in the room, we encourage students to look into renter's insurance. Quite frequently, your parents may have the ability to do that through their homeowners or other resources, but we definitely encourage students to consider renter's insurance. The last thing, and probably one of the most important things on this slide that I want to make sure folks realize, during these ever-changing times, sometimes we have to pivot on things. In order to do that, we try and make sure that we keep our campus community aware of such changes that we have to make. Some of those changes are beyond our control in light of the current climate. We ask that students regularly check their UNC Charlotte email for updates on things. It could be an update about move-in, it could be an update about a community, it could be new opportunities. But in these ever-changing times, it is critically important that students do check their UNC Charlotte email for updates. So, everybody asks, what should I bring? First and foremost, I cannot tell you how many times I've had families pull up with U-Hauls and then hauling half of the stuff back. Please understand, because these are ever-changing times, we simply want you to bring what you need. Minimize what you need in case there's ever a change in which you have to return home. So we ask people, definitely bring what you need. In order to check in, you're going to have to bring a form of government-issued photo identification. So please make sure that you do that. The only person that can pick up the key is the person who's going to be residing on campus. So parents, you cannot pick up the key for your students. It will have to be that student that retrieves their key during the check-in process. The next thing that's really important, we simply do not have the number of move-in hand trucks that would be needed to support move-in. So we encourage families and students, bring in whatever hand truck, wagons, whatever you think you need to make your move-in as easy as possible. Again, because this year for the first time we're limiting it to 2 guests to assist, in addition to the student moving in, it will be very helpful if you bring wagons, hand trucks, those types of things that'll make it fairly efficient. The other things to think about as far as coming to campus as a new on-campus resident, think about something we're going to ask you to do very early on. We believe that in order to have a very harmonious living environment, it's really important that we have a very candid conversation with roommates. So we're going to ask roommates who are living in suites or apartments or traditional rooms to create a roommate agreement where all parties involved sign. They agree to things such as cleaning, who's going to take out the garbage, who's going to clean the bathroom, and what is the rotating cycle. As far as noise, when some people go to bed early, some people don't. What are the protocols for visitors? I'm coming to an agreement because you're going to be sharing space in some of these, in most of these areas actually. And so making sure that you guys know boundaries. Some people have no problem with people sharing milk that may be in a refrigerator. Others do not want to share. So we want students to start out right at the beginning and make sure that they're all on the same page. Remember, you had 2 hours to pick up your key and unload. That is really critical. So we're going to make sure that I put that reminder in there. This is probably the 3rd time I've said that, just to make this process work as smoothly as possible. If you have problems, let's say problems with creating your appointment for move-in, or if you have problems, you need to change it, or if life intervenes and something happens and for some reason it's not going to work, you need to send an email to HRL mailbox at uncc.edu to let us know if you have any problems. And one of our staff members will work with you to resolve those problems. So we know you're coming. We are incredibly excited about it. We've got many things that we've been doing on campus to prepare our halls. I've already mentioned that hand sanitation stations. We have also signage that is posted throughout to encourage folks to adhere to the social distancing and any other practices and protocols that we put out there to keep you all safe. The other piece is that not to worry. We will still be doing community activities. There will be some additional protocols. Some will be in person, some will be online. But as we pivot on these changes based on our current situation, we promise to have a very engaging environment for our Niners who are coming on campus. So if you need more information beyond the Q&A that we're going to do at the end of this presentation, all you have to do is you can call us. you can send an email, and you can visit our website. We've really tried to think of just about anything that you would need, any questions that you may have. In addition to our website, please consider going to ninercares.unc.edu to get additional information. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our host and take any questions that you may have.
Right. So if you have any questions, if you just will put them in the Q&A at the bottom. We don't have any currently. Let me look. I know we had a couple that were submitted, pre-submitted, so let me check those real quick, and we can do this while folks are thinking. Oh, I've got one right now. We have a question here that says, will there be a place to unload, or will we unload from the parking deck?
There will be pull-offs that you will be able to unload in many of the areas. It depends on where you're moving in. All of that information is provided in our moving guide, and it tells you where you will be pulling off. Also, please note, we will have each day of move-in. Remember, move-in is a full week, which is very different from the move-in we've done in the past. Traditionally, we've done move-in in 2.5 days, but throughout the week of move-in, we will have parking services members there to direct you appropriately as far as the unloading zones and where you can park. We also will have a police officer presence in each of our villages. That will be in North Village, South Village, and East Village. We will also have a plethora of signs posted, so it will make it very difficult for you to be confused about where you need to go.
We have a question here from Robin that says, where will those students that move in earlier be expected to be while others move in? May they help their roommates unload?
No, we're actually asking if you are one of the approved early arrivals due to either employment or group that you're in. Again, our whole purpose is to minimize the number of people in the lobby and in the elevators while individuals are checking in. So if someone's moving into your room, absolutely you can be there. Again, what we're asking is that everyone wear face coverings, but as far as going down to the lobby and assisting from the parking lot, that will defeat the purpose of us trying to minimize the number of individuals that are in groups.
We have another one that says, will roommates have the same time slot or staggered time slots?
They will be offered, they will have access to the same time slots, but it will depend upon if they get in and claim those spots. Understand that the move-in appointments will be on a first come first served basis. We are staggering them by building so that folks do not overload the system when they set up their appointments. So if you have a friend who's going to be living in Hunt Hall, and let's say you're living in Holshouser Hall, the time that you will have access to sign up for appointments will be different potentially, because we're trying to make sure that folks, not all 6,000 students jump in the system at one time to claim an appointment, because that would cause the system to crash. So there will be staggered availability to appointments. Once an appointment slot is filled, you will no longer see it. So let's say if your roommate signed up for a 9 a.m. slot, you go in and you see there are no longer any 9 a.m. slots. It could be that all of those slots have been claimed.
Awesome. A question from Angela that says, some other schools are having students move in, then go home and come back the day before classes start. Is UNCC doing any similar policy?
At this point, no, and I always clarify whenever we're talking in these times, at this point, our guidance, our move-in will occur as scheduled during those time slots, and students, once on campus, will be able to remain on campus. So unless something changes, and if it should change, we would email, but at this point, I've not been notified of any such change.
Okay. So some of the questions that were pre-submitted, one, this is pretty simple, but what do you suggest that students bring with them, and are there things that they shouldn't bring?
So in that, we're asking folks, to be prepared in this time. And anyone who's watching the news, reading the paper, you know that things change quickly. So as far as your bedding, obviously any clothing that you would need, we do encourage people, you know, we know people are definitely attached to their electronics of choice. So while you may bring your laptop and your television, maybe it's not ideal to bring an elaborate gaming system that has several components that is quite large. Think of what would I need to have in order for me to feel home away from home, but can I minimize it to the point that if I'm asked to leave, that I can do that efficiently as well. So a lot of things that people will traditionally bring to really HGTV overload their rooms might not be ideal to bring at this point. I think this is more of a wait and see. Bring simply what you need right now, and then if you want to amp it up later on, if our conditions should change, you'll have the ability to do that and bring that stuff back during breaks. That's my recommendation.
Awesome. And can they find information on, where on the website can they find information about like what's permitted in the residence hall and what's not permitted?
It's in the move-in guide, and it's very easy to find. If you go to housing.uncc.edu and go to the move-in guide, you will see that it has enclosed in there prohibited and suggested things for you to bring to campus.
Awesome. So a question from Kathleen. She said, are dining services available immediately upon arrival or just the weeks that classes start?
Once we start opening, dining services are available. Now, they do not have everything open during opening, but there will be food resources available for the students once we do move in. Not a problem.
Okay. Another question says, if students check in early in the week, will they have access through the, okay, that's the same question. Sorry, I didn't read it.
No problem. No problem.
I'm like reading it live. Okay, so yes, they will have food availability. We have a question about parking passes, which I believe are, so when do parking passes go on sale? I believe they're already.
I don't know. That's one question. Let's see. I don't know.
We'll look that up and get the answer.
Yeah, I really don't know.
So this is a question maybe about the furniture that's in the space, but someone had pre-submitted a question that what do the residence hall rooms come with, and what do students maybe need in the space from a furniture perspective?
Okay. Traditionally, in all of our spaces, you will have a desk, a chair, you will have a bed, you will have a closet or wardrobe. You will have generally a 3-drawer bureau. And believe it or not, one of my student workers says she was able to fit every single thing she owned, which I don't recommend you bring, but she was able to do that. The other thing that all of our beds, with the exception of Greek Village, are they're the beds that you can lift up, and they have significant storage underneath. So most of our students, if they don't bunk them, will have their beds adjusted by our facility staff, which they will be on site throughout move-in. You could lift it up. Some people put the 3-drawer bureau under there, and then they may put bins of things they don't immediately need access to under there. So there's more than enough storage. If you live in a suite and an apartment, you also have a couch or a love seat, depending upon what the size of the area is. In most of our apartments, you may have a table and chairs, or you have bar stools because you have a counter in which students can eat at. You also, in apartments and suites, will have either a coffee table or a TV stand. Those are the items that we put in all of our rooms. So students don't have to worry about desk and chair or anything along those lines.
Awesome. A question that directly relates to that is, what do we need to bring to lift the beds, or do the beds come with lifts already?
The beds that we have, with the exception of Greek Village, is simply because Greek Village beds are full-size beds as opposed to twin beds. So they are not able to be lifted up. You don't need to bring anything to lift up our beds. They actually have rungs, and for safety features, we ask that our facility staffs lift them up. I will tell you that in most of our rooms, they are preset with the beds at the top of the rung, so that you have adequate storage underneath. You can have that adjusted. You would simply need to contact our facilities office, and our staff members would be able to adjust that for you.
Awesome. And another question is, where can I find, or where can families find the dimensions of the desk? So is there dimensions of the furniture in the room space?
No, we've got some dimensions on our website of our rooms. We simply just don't have the staff to go out, because we have different desks in different areas. So it varies based upon where you are. What I recommend that families do is they wait until they arrive, because here's the other thing. Even the dimensions of the rooms that you will find on our website under each of the buildings vary based upon where the room is located in the building. So if you are located in a corner, your room may be slightly smaller. So we do ask that people recognize that. So the best thing that I recommend that people do, they come, they unload, they see what's in the room, see what's there, and then make any additional purchases that they feel necessary. Because if you purchase something and you feel it just is too big for the space, we don't want you to do that. So we want you to actually see the space, and we just don't have the resources to send people out to measure every single thing.
Yeah, of course. So a question from Tamika says, in Hawthorne Hall, where is the bathroom in the suite? So that's specific to that hall, but also do suite style rooms have to provide their own shower curtain and toilet paper?
Okay, so we provide a shower curtain. It's a standard issue in all of the showers. However, when you're in a suite or an apartment, you are responsible for all of your toilet paper, for any other, your hand soap, anything that you need in that unit, you're responsible for doing it. That is different for the traditional high-rise rooms. In those rooms, the bathrooms are outside of the unit. We provide all of the toilet paper. We clean those rooms, those bathrooms. They are not expected to be cleaned by the residents. In suites and apartments, anything behind the entrance door, you're responsible for maintaining, cleaning, providing any resources. In Hawthorne Hall in particular, if I understand the question, we have 2 bedrooms that have 2 occupants in each bedroom, and then you have a little living room area. The bathroom is actually, in most of the units, when you walk in the door, you see the bathroom on one side and then the 2 rooms on the other side right before you get to the living room. That's how the majority of them are set up.
Yeah. This is another question about bed risers, but you had mentioned before facility staff lifting those. So they had asked, are facility staff going to be around to lift the beds if needed? And then are bed risers allowed? So I assume the cups that you put underneath the bed.
Yep, the bed risers are allowed. Facilities will be around throughout move-in. So throughout that entire week, you will have them at your disposal to request that they come. We have a number of students who are working with us, and they will make those adjustments for you.
Awesome. So there were a couple of pre-submitted questions in relation to COVID-19. So where, and I know that y'all have been kind of centralizing that information. So where can families find information related to housing policy and COVID-19?
What I recommend, because usually if you have housing questions, you have other questions. ninercares.uncc.edu, it has everything you would ever want to know about what each office is taking, be it academic, housing, and it's very easy to look at that information. Some of the things, I shared that we're doing, of course, we've got the hand sanitization spots. Also, our housekeeping staff will be cleaning regularly a majority of the high touch areas. There's a whole schedule that they are committed to. In order to be able to provide that level of cleaning, we will, in some of our halls, close some of the lounge areas and some of the kitchens. In most of those areas, we have multiple lounges and multiple kitchens, but in order to keep up with the new cleaning schedule that we are deploying as a result of COVID-19, some of those will be closed until we get to a different point in this cycle. So in addition to the additional cleaning, I've mentioned that we've got plexiglass at the majority of our desk covers that they've been installing throughout this summer. And then you're just going to notice when we have events in the halls, there are going to be smaller meeting events. Many of them will be outside. Some will be online until we get to a point where CDC guidelines change.
Awesome. So we're waiting on more questions, but if there were a change in housing policy, so I think similar to move out needed or any of that, can you talk about like how that would be communicated to students, or y'all may still be figuring that out? But
yes, what I can tell you is that this is something that all of the schools are dealing with, the possibility, and I use the word pivot very frequently because obviously our commitment is to you as a community, our staff members, the safety and health, and obviously trying to operate during this pandemic. One of the things I can tell you is that if there is a decision made by leadership that we will be moving students off campus, that guidance comes from the UNC system. So what has to happen is once we get that guidance, whether it be everybody needs to follow lockstep, or if individual universities are given some liberty, believe you me, we will be communicating that via our UNC Charlotte email, our website. It'll be on our emergency management website as well. So we will get that information out to you as quickly as we possibly can. Then what will happen, because a question that I get very frequently is what will happen with refunds, etc. At that point, the system will give us guidance on that as well. And whatever guidance is given by the system, our leadership will take it, and we will, of course, pass that on to our communities. We are very transparent. We've been through this when we had to move students off in the spring. So if that should happen, how that happens and what that means to each of our students and the parents, of course, we will communicate that as quickly as we possibly can.
Awesome. Yeah, and I just want to also echo what Carla said. If you haven't bookmarked ninernationcares.uncc.edu, please do. It is the hub for all information related to the pandemic and operations on campus. We got another question. So if students have to move off campus during the fall, can they opt out of living on campus for the spring without penalty?
And I wish I had an answer to that question. All of that is going to be dependent upon what guidance we receive from the UNC system. So I don't want to give misinformation, and it's not like I'm trying to dodge the question. Unfortunately, I just don't have that. In the 16 years I've been here, we've not experienced this. So I don't have a roadmap to go from. All I can say is that information, of course, would be part of the communication we would send out to our residents.
Awesome. Are there any questions that you have heard this summer through other presentations that we haven't talked about today that would be relevant for, I guess, for the recording and for the participants who are here?
Most individuals have been very concerned about communication. And as far as when will they know, and making decisions on move in and when they can move in, and of course arranging it with their parents' schedule. Housing will work with you as far as if the schedule, if you can't find an appointment time that's going to work based on your parents' ability to bring you, or your support system's ability to bring you, whatever that may be, those are problems we can resolve. We simply need you to reach out to us via email or give us a call, and we will provide guidance on what we can do for you. There are many people who've asked to move in early, and we are very, very restricted on what we can do before our move-in time, because believe it or not, it takes a lot of time to prepare our campus for a little over 6,000 students. So to make sure that our facilities are ready for you when you get here, we need that time. Our staff needs that time to prepare it. So unfortunately, we're not able to accommodate many early arrivals, but as far as changes in appointments during the move-in week, because come move-in week, everything's supposed to be ready. Those we can definitely work with. Those are some of the additional questions I've gotten in some of the SOAR presentations.
Well, if you have any other questions, if y'all want to throw them in the Q&A. I think we covered everything that was pre-submitted. Oh.
That's it.
There was a question about the sending of the resident handbook for 2020. Is that available on the website?
It should be. I know they were finishing. There were some because of our changes that are occurring as we speak. I do know that the team responsible for that was finishing it up. If you do not see that out there right now, you would see last year's. The changes that they're making are specific to COVID-19 and operating during that period. But I believe it is already out on our website, and I would encourage you to take a look at that, because some of the things that I think that make a strong community is everybody going in, knowing what the expectations are, because we believe very strongly in the partnership with our students. The only way we're going to make this work is that our students are on the same page with us. I know students want to come here, they come here for an education, they come here to have an experience that is beyond just the classroom, and we want to provide that to you, and we want to do so in a safe manner. So we ask that you take a look at both the resident handbook, the move-in guide, so that when you come here, you're going to be ready to just begin on a great experience, and we promise to provide that to you once you land on campus.
Awesome. Well, that is a great note to end on, Carla. So that being said, thank you so much to Carla for being here today. Thank you all of our participants for questions. As I mentioned at the beginning, a recording of this will be available next week if you need to revisit any of the content. But if not, it's hrlmailbox@uncc.edu for any questions that you have. And ninernationcares.uncc.edu for any COVID-related questions as well. So thank you, everyone, and we will see you all soon.
Great. Go Niners!
Go Niners!